The voice that never slept. Eamonn Holmes and the heart of British breakfast television. There is something quietly extraordinary about a man who has spent more than 4 decades waking up a nation. Not just waking 'em up with an alarm clock or a nudge, but greeting 'em, genuinely, warmly, reliably, through the flickering glow of a television screen before the world has properly begun. Eamonn Holmes is that man. And this week, the nation he has served so faithfully found itself holding its breath, sending prayers and messages of goodwill toward a broadcaster whose voice has become as familiar as morning itself. The news arrived with the bluntness that serious health announcements often carry. GB News confirmed that Eamonn had suffered a stroke and was currently recovering in hospital. He is responding well to treatment, the statement read, adding that he had asked for privacy as he focused on getting better. Simple words, but for the millions who have grown up watching him, they landed with considerable weight. A career written in early mornings. To understand why this news struck such a chord, you have to understand what Eamonn Holmes represents, not just as a broadcaster, but as a fixture of British life. He is, officially, Britain's longest-serving breakfast news presenter. Over 40 years, 4 decades of 3 a.m. alarm calls, of reading autocues while the rest of the country slept, of holding the line between information and warmth in a format that demands both simultaneously. It is a feat of endurance that goes largely uncelebrated simply because it looks, in Eamonn's hands, entirely effortless. His career began long before most viewers could remember. He anchored GMTV from 1993 to 2005, becoming one of the defining faces of that era's morning television. There was a directness to him, an absence of artifice, that made early morning watching feel less like consuming media and more like sharing a kitchen table with someone who had strong opinions and wasn't shy about expressing them. From 2005 to 2016, he moved to Sky News Sunrise, bringing the same grounded energy to a harder news environment. And from 2006 to 2021, he co-presented ITV's beloved This Morning, where alongside his wife Ruth Langsford he reached perhaps his broadest audience. It was on that sofa that a generation came to know him, funny, occasionally combative, always human. The GB News chapter. When Eamonn joined GB News in 2022, some eyebrows were raised. But the move made a certain sense. He had always been a broadcaster who said what he thought, who carried an instinctive skepticism toward the carefully managed and the professionally polished. GB News, the so-called People's Channel, was built on a similar instinct. He co-hosts GB News Breakfast from Monday to Wednesday alongside Ellie Costello, and the chemistry between them, warm, teasing, professional, has helped the program find a loyal and growing audience. The results speak for themselves. Last year, GB News Breakfast won Best News Show at the Television and Radio Industries Club Awards for the 3rd consecutive year. It was a viewer-voted award, which makes it all the more meaningful. The show beat BBC Breakfast and Good Morning Britain, formidable competitors with enormous budgets and decades of institutional weight behind them. The program has been shortlisted for the same honor again this year. Angelos Frangopoulos, the CEO of GB News, put it plainly, Eamonn is a loved member of the GB News family, and we're with him every step of the way as he recovers. It is the kind of statement that could read as corporate if the circumstances were different. In this case, it simply reads as true. The flood of goodwill. What happened next, in the hours following the announcement, said everything about the relationship between Eamonn Holmes and his audience. Thousands of viewers, listeners and members responded, not with polite regret, but with the kind of genuine warmth you reserve for people you actually know and care about, which is, of course, the great paradox of long-running broadcasting. The audience knows the presenter far better than the presenter could ever know the audience. Get well soon, Eamonn, wrote Lorraine Leeson from Manchester. You're definitely missed. God bless. Steve Wilde was equally direct, wishing Eamonn a speedy recovery. Come on, big man, we need you back on our screens. These are not the responses of people performing concern. They are the responses of people who have genuinely lost something from their mornings, a presence, a voice, a reassuring constant. His colleagues, too, were quick to respond. Ellie Costello, who sits beside him 3 mornings a week and knows better than most what his presence means to the program, said simply, "Thinking of you, Eamonn, and wishing you a speedy recovery." Stephen Dixon, who has worked alongside him at both GB News and Sky News across many years, added his voice, "So sorry to hear Eamonn is unwell. Wishing him a speedy recovery and a swift return to good health." Paul Coit, his close friend and sports presenter, struck a more personal note, "Wishing my friend a speedy recovery. Get well soon, Eamonn." That single word, friend, carries more weight than any professional tribute. And Alex Armstrong, who will step in to present GB News Breakfast while Eamonn recovers, spoke with the honesty of someone genuinely shaken. "Thinking of you, Eamonn Holmes. Such a shock to all of us. You're sorely missed. Get better soon." What morning television owes him there is a temptation, in moments like these, to reach for grand statements about legacy and longevity. But perhaps the truest tribute to Eamonn Holmes is simpler than that. He showed up. For more than 40 years, through personal upheaval and physical difficulty, he has been open about the chronic pain he has lived with in recent years. He showed up.